Hello, welcome to AllCBTs. My name is David. In this special video, we'll be looking at the NECO English Literature exam. Alright, so I've taken for you the top 40 questions that you are likely to see in the exam of NECO 2025. So ride along with me, sit back and relax. I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. So for this video, we're going to start with the success tips or the hacks, the tricks in passing NECO Literature English exam. Okay, so now once you get your English question paper, you have to do these four things. I've broken them into four simple tips. The first one is you plan your essay, then you include literary devices. I'm going to explain them. Then you watch out for NECO formats. NECO has formats, just like every exam has their own unique formats. And then time management is key. Don't waste your time. Know how to allot time to different sections of the NECO exam. All right, so let's see them in a brief detail. Now, the first one, plan your essay. Before you begin to go about writing whatever you want to write, probably descriptive essay, whatever kind of essay you want to do, make sure you plan your essay. Look at what I said. I said your main points or arguments in 1 to 2 sentences. Don't write unnecessary stories. In fact, it gets the examiner upset. Okay, the marker, the one reading your essay. You don't want to write unnecessary stuff. Look at an example of such arguments. Ada's resilience reflects the struggle of post-colonial African women. Short and direct to the point, right? So then, explain and support whatever you have written here in several paragraphs. So the first paragraph is like your summary. Then the next paragraph, you explain what you've written in the first paragraph, right? In maybe another 3, 4, or 5 paragraphs. And then use short quotes or clear examples from the novel to back up your points, especially the quotes. If you have quotes saying adage, you can use them so long it's relevant to the context. Then summarize your key ideas clearly in one paragraph. So after you have done the intro, the main body, then the last paragraph is like a summary of your thoughts or everything you said in the first paragraph. Then I said include literary devices. Now, this impresses examiners, yes. Show you can see the tools writers use. So simply what I'm saying here is use figures of speech. They use metaphor, irony, use all those kind of figures of speech. Understand the English settings and how you write different kind of essay or writings, and clearly use them. Don't mess them up, okay? Because you are impressing the marker, and the examiners that will be marking your scripts, they are English men and women. They've been studying English for a while. It's something they love doing. They have good understanding of English schematics, so they will be watching out for your errors and would actually deduct your marks sometimes if you make silly mistakes. And then we have the next point I wrote, the third point, which is watch NECO formats. In past years, NECO literature in English paper usually look like this. You have 4 MCQs, you have your essay section, okay? So, you would have maybe 4 essays, choose 2 or choose 1. So, and then you would also have something like not more than 300 words, 200 words, something like that. So don't go beyond the boundaries that is given to you. Make sure you understand the instruction and follow the instruction. And then the last one, time management is key. So you'll be given a time for each section or the time for the total exam. For example, 2 hours, 30 minutes. So how do you use your time? Okay, start with the easy ones first before you go over to the more difficult or more complex parts of your exam. In fact, use that trick for all of your exams. You start with the easy ones first. It will boost your confidence, your morale, and your ability to answer questions. Then you start. In fact, you may even see answers to some of the difficult questions in the simple ones. So then you'll be able to answer more tougher questions. So look at what I wrote here for you. I said do MCQs fast. So You can say maybe you have 30 MCQs. What are MCQs? Multi-choice questions. So if you have 40 OBJ questions, you shouldn't spend more than 40 minutes on that. In fact, you should spend at least at most 20 minutes on that. So you can time yourself like 30 seconds per question, right? So that you can have more time on the essay or theory section, and then you still have some spare time to do a review when you are done with your exam, right? So write 3 to 4 essays, plan quickly, review and tidy your answer, and then before writing, jot 4 to 5 key points for each essay. This keep your answer organized. So before you start, or you should have like a separate rough sheet where you jot idea and gather your thoughts, then you begin your essay. So the literature exam comprises of two segments of prose. You have your African prose, and the ones you're having for this year, you have Second Class Citizen by Buchi Emecheta. Yeah, I'm sure you already know all this. Yeah, and then the second one, Unexpected Joy at Dawn by Alex Agiyiri. Then you have the non-African prose, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. So these are your African and non-African prose. So then I now highlighted some questions from each of the uh, prose. Now we're starting with the African prose. Please scroll up, scroll up. So we have, you'll be given about 4 questions. You may be told to answer 1 or 2. You'll see the instruction there. So make sure that you follow the instruction. Now the first one, we have a second class citizen by Buchi Emecheta. You might have questions like this. This is just a top likely question that you may get from NECO exam. So you might have it like this. It might be slightly different, but you will definitely find this helpful. One of the questions you can get is discuss how others' identity crisis reflect colonial displacement. So you have to discuss. When you see discuss, it means discuss, and then you give a little. You understand? It shouldn't be so long, and yet it shouldn't be so short. It should comprise the totality of your thoughts. Then another one, analyze the role of gender in shaping others' opportunity. You can see that too. A double marginalization. What does that mean? She's standing between two positions. As a woman, an African immigrant, limited or limits her advancements. So, see another one. Explore the theme of resilience in others' character. Number 4, how is family portrayed as both support and challenge? Okay. Then I have another one for you. Unexpected Joy at Dawn by Alex Agiyiri. Look at some of the questions you might find from that prose. Examine xenophobia depicted in the novel. What is xenophobia? You need to know that to be able to explain. You understand? And if you have read this novel, you definitely have come across these words or a meaning of it several times. So discuss how love challenges cultural boundaries in relation to the novel, to the prose. And then analyze symbolism of dawn in the narrative. And then you have another one, examine the journey from tradition to modernity. So this is for our African prose. You have answer 1 out of 4. You may have answer 2 out of 4. I don't know what instruction they might give you, but now you're having answer 1 out of 4. So let's see some of the uh, ones you might get. You might get explore Eclipse destruction love for Catherine, discuss the function of Yorkshire Moors as setting, compare the love stories of Catherine, Heather Cleave, and Cathy Ereton, analyze social class and marriage decisions. So I'm just giving you some ideas of questions, and you can play this video very slowly so that you can read my own summary of the answers to those questions. So just master that, and you can take other questions even from the novel itself, and as you prepare yourself for your NECO literature exam. Okay, then we have Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. We have examining the theme of invisibility as identity crisis. What did I say? I said the narrator's invisibility stems from societal ignorance and internal conflicts. So that's nice. Then discuss involvement with the brotherhood and manipulation. interpret the symbolism of the battle royal, analyze the underground retreat at the novel's end. See that? Then part three, although not often on the list, but NECO often include a drama question, yes, in the exams each year. So we have one of them like that. Compare the depiction of cultural conflict in Unexpected Joy at Dawn and Second Class Citizen. You're asked to compare. So you use words like while, although, such kind of words because you are comparing. And then you have your part four, which will contain your objective poetry and drama questions. We'll often have 20 multi-choice questions. One of the trick I always give in multi-choice questions is to pick out, the two top correct answers, the two top incorrect answers, leaving you with the correct answer and the more likely correct answer. Do you understand? Does that make sense at all? It simply means that when you have options, especially options that you're not sure, you're not like 100% sure what the answer is, the best way to go about it is to remove the two unlikely, answers, options, leaving you with two so that you can do your 50-50, and you can narrow down to your answer. Okay, I think that's how we have it. Let's scroll up and see if we have some more. And then you have part five, essay practice topics. So you have those questions scrolling up again. You can still see them. Yeah, like I said, you can pause the video or play really slowly to um, do an in-depth study personally on some of these questions. So let's scroll up and see other stuff that we have here. Okay, then we have model answers highlight. Objective. Example is soliloquy. So I just explained some of the terms that I mentioned in the questions. For example, there was this term soliloquy when the writer was speaking to himself or herself. So anybody that is speaking to himself or herself in a character in a play, any character speaking to himself or herself in a play or in a prose is called soliloquizing. Okay, or you can say soliloquy. So it's a speech by a character alone on stage. Not even just on stage, even personally on your own, you're speaking to yourself, you are soliloquizing. So I think I'll call that a wrap on the English language uh, expected questions for NECO 2025. This is just like a rush summary of what you have to expect for the English exam. Okay, now you can play it slowly, like I said before, and take some of these questions that I've raised with some of the answers I've explained, put them together, and do a more in-depth study to understand these literatures properly and prepare yourself adequately for the oncoming exam. I hope you enjoyed this one. I want to see more of this content, maybe even more subjects that we upload on this channel, including maths, English, chemistry, government, and the likes of them. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell such that when we upload those videos, which we do every 24 hours, you will be notified. See you in the next one. Bye.